you fearlessly adopted some of the most bizarre positions on almost every topic. So
I have.
Well,
see, I thought all my positions were perfect common sense, and the rest of the world was weird.
Be that as it may, how have you settled on libertarianism as being closest to something that is meaningful for you?
Well, I will quote three American presidents, the first three. George Washington said, government is not reason, it is not persuasion, it is force. Like fire, it is a treacherous servant and a dangerous master.
R-A-W, Robert Anton Wilson. I could play that all day. That's Robert Anton Wilson, a man I met in, the late 90s. Late 90s, we met. I was in grad school at Arizona State University, and I met up with two guys, one named Eric Wagner, the other Stephen Williams, and Eric is a really intelligent, erudite friend of mine. Here's his, he wrote a book on Wilson, and here's his Facebook account. So hit him up on Facebook. He lives in LA. I haven't seen him in decades, but we're friends still. Least I can do is shout out his book, huh? I don't know how long this video is going to be. I don't know where to start, really. Let's start with, I met him 2 times, well, 3 times. I went to a lecture, but he used to come to our Finnegans weight group in Tempe, Arizona, and it's where my studies of FW really took off. I had attempted to read FW with several guidebooks, and I won't get into all that. I will mention Roy Reads Anything and I are going to be doing Finnegans Wake this summer. We've already had a book chat with Pat. He's going to come along. So is Roz scallydanling about the books. I'm sure I'm forgetting others. Every time I mention people, I leave people out, and I apologize for that. But, Robert Anton Wilson is just, I probably met 2 geniuses in my life, and he's one of them that I met, in person and spent time with. Just, he would love the synchronicity. I got this old book, with that Dewey Decimal and all that. But look at the due date, September 11th, 09, but, September 11th. So kind of a synchronicity date. And I was in prison in Tucson when I was a librarian. That's how I got this. And this is it's a marker in my Finnegans Wake, just to remind me. And this book, Coincidence, is all about Finnegans Wake. I love this book. I've bought this book half a dozen times, given it away. I think a good place to start with, like Finnegans Wake, I'm going to get back to personal stories about Ron in a second, is the symbols. See, all these symbols correspond to main characters in Finnegans Wake and situations like battles and history and other family members. But it corresponds with the I Ching. You can see Wilson was into magic. He was a psychologist, and he was a friend of Timothy Leary's, whom I also met. But it was a exhilarating experience. It was at a rave in Phoenix, Arizona, and several of us got backstage to meet and greet him. We were connected through ASU, and I still think about this. He looked at me and he said something to all the groups. There's probably like 10 dozen people there. He said, "Alan, be careful what you put in front of your eyes." And because it blew me away at first, because I was never introduced to him. How do you know my name? And this is like 20 years ago. I recently read, meaning the last 5 years, reread. I've read this 3 times. The Illuminatus trilogy they wrote with Robert Shea, and I read this with a booktuber that no longer has a channel, but it was a great read. It wasn't his first read either, because he's Joycean as well. Uh, Jason Harrigan in Ireland, but I wish we would have did a live stream. We had planned on it. IDK, what happened? What happened, Jason? You tell me. So meeting it, he liked to drink Merlot, and he died in 2007. This book and the one I just got done listening to are 20, 25 years old, and he was talking about things that are happening now, constitution wise, government falling apart wise, foreign adversaries. I'm tempted to play more of it off that, but I have to tell you, he was a marijuana smoker, and he had cancer in the end. That's not what did him in. Polio-related symptoms from his childhood. He was born in the 30s, but he did. He took marijuana tablets back before edibles, and like I said, 25. But he mentions, 25 years ago, Portugal legalized marijuana, and these foreign countries were way ahead. Edited that out. He was a great lecturer, and some of his lectures are on YouTube. And so I saw him at Bowling Green State University once. I'd like to talk about conspiracies and how conspiracies have been around forever, and don't have to look farther than Rome, and the Romans, nor Shakespeare, and that. It's a hard video for me to do. It's bringing back memories that I'm wondering what to share. I mean, the man's been dead for a long time, and I'm looking forward to getting back into coincidence. I'm tempted to read from this about these siglas. C and A relate to Cain and Abel, and archbishops and conspiracies, and they represent not one thing but several things just in a symbol. And the Illuminatus trilogy is just a stone trip. Joyce is in it as a main character. All this Kabbalistic things. In fact, the photo on my thumbnail is a tree of life from Kabbalah. 22 paths with 10 sephiros, those little round things, and they're numbered 1 through 10. 10 being Malkuth, earth, 1 being Kether, crown. And they have 22 paths which correspond to the Hebrew alphabet, and also exactly correspond to the major arcana in tarot. So this book is a trilogy all in one. Oh, look, some more Finnegans Wake sigils. That's a good place to start out, I think, with Finnegans Wake. And I want to thank Roy for inviting me to help with the event. Link below to his announcement video. I'm going to get around to doing my announcement video. It's not starting until April, June, and July. So I'm going to make my announcement with the hashtag, the Irish Readathon, so we can get some people involved over in Ireland, hopefully. There's a lot of, I call them commenters extraordinaire, that are involved in Roy's Discord channel, which is in the description box below as well. So let me know if you're a fan of Robert Anton Wilson, or have read the Illuminatus trilogy, or if you'd like to join us on Finnegans Wake. We're not reading it front to back. It's organized schedule of reading the major episodes and bouncing around a wee bit. You get the idea. Don't be afraid of Finnegans Wake. It's Finnegans Wake is the whole book is on every page. So how can you beat that? Like, subscribe, make a comment.
He said he quit working for the government when he discovered that most of the Star Wars technology was aimed at third world countries and not at the Soviet Union at all. That the United States already